Welcome back to City Insider. This is a YouTube channel for news, stories, and analysis surrounding Manchester City Football Club. I will update new video every day. Like, subscribe and turn on notifications to support me. Bernardo Silva calls out Man City teammates. Bernardo Silva insists Manchester City cannot use the absence of Rodri and Kevin De Bruyne as an excuse. Reigning champions City suffered their first back-to-back Premier League defeats since December 2018, with Rodri missing through suspension and De Bruyne out injured. But City midfielder Silva says they will not change their style and have overcome setbacks in the past and will do so again this season after their defeat at title rivals Arsenal. Silva said, "I'm not going to lie and say that they aren't important players, of course they are. Over the last few years Kevin and Rodri have been two of the most important players on the team. It's also true that over the last 7 years, this team has always been able to react to injuries to important players. So, we have to improve, those of us who are playing, and it doesn't matter if that's Kevin, Rodri, Ruben Dias, whoever, we have to be ready to play the best game possible and win matches. So, we have to look at where we can improve and do so." Silva admits that the Arsenal defeat was full of frustration and disappointment, but it will not change the way they play or knock their confidence. He added, "It's definitely believing in what we do and we're going to keep doing it. Last season, Arsenal, pressed us in the same way and we beat them both times in the league. It won't change anything when we play Liverpool, who are good pressers. When we play Man United at Old Trafford or whatever, it's our way of playing and we're not going to try and be something what we are not. We're going to keep being loyal to our principles and ideas, knowing that in some moments if the risk is too high you sometimes have to play long and go for second balls. We have a striker who can fight for those balls and go in behind and put the defenders in trouble. Tough game for us, but on to the next one." Rio Ferdinand makes Premier League title prediction. Rio Ferdinand still believes Manchester City will win the Premier League title, but admitted he would love for either Arsenal or Tottenham to pip them. Spurs currently sit top of the league, leading the Gunners on goals scored and City by 2 points heading into the international break. They have been transformed since new boss Ange Postecoglou took charge in the summer and remain unbeaten. The work of the Australian has impressed Ferdinand, who has now opened up on his desire to see them win the top flight for the first time since 1961. But the Manchester United legend did warn fans that City are still in pole position. "I still think City will win. Arsenal are in there. Arsenal have a good chance. I can't lie. Arsenal have got a massive chance. I'd actually like Arsenal to win it this year, I would," Ferdinand told Vibe with 5, "because that would mean City don't win 4 in a row. I'd actually prefer Spurs. Come on Angie, come on Angie, I am Spurs mad." This geezer's brought something into that squad that we haven't seen for a long time. They were pining for Pochettino at one point. They've moved on now. They've moved on and now they've got a guy who they believe in. We're 8 games in, so I'm not going to get carried away, but there's such an uplift at that football club because of what that man has done. Man City ahead of Man United in youngster chase. Manchester City have reportedly raced ahead of local rivals Manchester United in the race to sign 19-year-old Benfica defensive midfielder João Neves. According to 90 Minutes, Manchester City are currently leading the race to sign Benfica's João Neves, with a host of big European clubs interested in landing the 19-year-old signature ahead of the upcoming January transfer window. This comes after Neves' name was bandied about as a Man United target in the Portuguese outlets last week. And while 90 Minutes have doubled down on the claims of United interest, Man City are now considered the frontrunners to sign him instead. The 19-year-old first broke into Benfica's first team last season and has become a regular starter at Benfica following Enzo Fernandez's blockbuster move to Chelsea at the start of 2023. Making 17 appearances as they won the Primeira Liga, Neves has continued his fine form into this season, which has led to a maiden call-up to the Portugal senior team. He has already played 11 times this term, primarily as a defensive midfielder, though he is showing signs of adaptability in different midfield roles. Needless to say, his breakout onto the senior stage at such a young age has not gone unnoticed around Europe, with clubs such as PSG and Dortmund regularly sending scouts to watch the player in action. While both Manchester clubs are already expressing their desire to spend big on Neves in the next transfer window, Man City began rebuilding their midfield over the summer, with the departure of captain Ilkay Gundogan followed by the signings of Mateo Kovacic and Matheus Nunes from Chelsea and Wolves, respectively. However, with Calvin Phillips' long-term future at the Etihad still up in the air, there may be room for a coveted young talent who would be able to compete with Rodri in the long run, and Neves fits that bill. Manchester United, meanwhile, brought Mason Mount from Chelsea and Sofian Amrabat from Fiorentina but lost Fred to Fenerbahce. While Casemiro's poor start to the season sparks warning bells at Old Trafford, the former Real Madrid defensive midfielder is certainly not meeting his high standards, and his growing immobility provides a major concern for Erik ten Hag's side given that he contributes very little in the build-up phase. Despite his diminutive physical frame, Neves likes to tackle, often displaying his persistent nature in the heart of the midfield, while he's also creative and progressive on the ball. The 19-year-old surely has a very bright future in the game and could be viewed as Casemiro's potential long-term successor by the United hierarchy. However, a January move might not be easy for either suitor due to Benfica's reluctance to facilitate a sale at this stage of his development curve. His current contract with Benfica runs out in 2028, and although Benfica have sold several of their homegrown talents to big clubs in recent years, they have no plans to sell Neves until next summer. Reason behind Erling Haaland and Kyle Walker's furious bust-up. A handshake caused the Sunday evening touchline fracas at the Emirates between Manchester City's Erling Haaland and Kyle Walker with Arsenal set-piece coach Nicolas Jova, following the intense clash, which saw Gabriel Martinelli's late deflected strike win the game for the Gunners 1-0. Jova, who used to work for Man City, offered Walker a handshake as he was about to head down the tunnel at the Emirates. However, the England international was left incensed by the offer from Jova, instead confronting him on the touchline. Haaland then followed Walker into the confrontation, which eventually resulted in players and staff from both teams getting involved. Jova could be seen being held back by the injured Buyako Saka, whilst also wagging a finger in the direction of Walker and Haaland. It appears the reason for Walker's outrage stemmed from the fact Jova refused to shake hands with the 33-year-old right-back twice last season. At the end of the 2 Premier League games last term, which Man City won, Jova stood with his hands behind his back, a clear sign that he would not shake hands with any of his former colleagues. And of course, his hypocrisy in offering Walker a handshake following the Sunday evening win could almost be seen as gloating, especially given his previous behaviour. Both games last term saw Man City win comfortably. And that's the end of this video. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications to support me.